Today we are going to be working on Max Scholars Module 4, Latin Roots. A root is the basic portion of a word that carries a meaning. Here are the roots for you to learn. You will see a root, then a word that contains a root, then the meaning of the word. An example, mem, as in memory, means to remember. The root is mem, as in the word memory. And it means to remember. Now, we're going to use some 3x5 index cards for each root. On the front, I've printed the root or roots, and on the back, a word containing the root and the meaning. See page 7 of Module 4 Workbook for the list of roots and definitions. This is odd. It means to hear. An example of odd is audience. Another root is vid or viz, as in vision, which means to see. Another one would be spec or spect, like as in the word spectacle, which means to look or watch. Another one, dic or dict, as in dictation, which means to say. Then we have jack or jet. An example is projectile. It means to throw. Then we have miss and mit. An example of a word is missionary. It means to send. Then we have mob, mott, or mauve. And an example of one word, mobility, means to move. And the last one in this set is pel or pulse. An example of a word would be propel, which means to push. Now, I have copied page 9 through 17 in the MaxWords Module 4 Workbook. These are a few of the worksheets that will help the children learn the meanings of these Latin roots. The first one on page 9, it says, please check mark or X in the box in front of the correct answer. And it's choosing the correct syllable division. Now, it also asks you what the definition is. Like the first one says, the word is audible. You are to check the correct syllable division. And then, what is the meaning of audible? The next word is auditory. Choose the correct division of the word auditory. And there are 4 choices here. Then you answer the definition. What is the meaning of auditory? Is it by seeing, by hearing, by touching, by smelling? Well, we know from the definitions we discussed that odd means to hear. So it must mean by hearing. And you will continue the front and back of the next 2 pages in that same manner. You will choose the correct syllable division, then you will choose what the meaning of the word is. Next, we're going to do a fluency drill. On page 19 of your Module 4 workbook, and then follow the instructions on the top of the page. First, read the word to yourself and try to figure out what each word means by using its root. Then start the timer to see how many words you can read in 1 minute. We start with the odd words, which is audiology, audible, audience, audiotape, auditorium, auditory, audiologist, audition, inaudible, audible, audiometer, and audit. And it goes through a list of all of that first set of the root words and a group of words that have the word is used in. Then on page 20, we have a sheet like this where we can record the words per minute. So you would have the student read as many of these words as they can in 1 minute. When they get to the bottom, they go back to the top and continue until the timer sounds. And then you would count the words that they did and subtract any of the words that they got wrong. And then the sum of what is left, or the amount that is left, when you subtract how many they read with how many incorrect ones, it will give you the correct words per minute of what they read. And then that is what you would record here. And then again, we have another list that has the rest of set 1 on it, and it is done in the same manner. You would read each of the words to yourself, then they try to figure out what each word means by using its roots, and then you start the timer to see how many words can be read in 1 minute. Then next we have word dictation. The teacher would dictate words. You say the word, write the word, say the roots as the students write, and then say the word again. And then you will record the results on that on this sheet here. In an auditory sound drill, I use the auditory sound drill, but the lines are a little small for them to be able to write all of the words out. So you may want to use just a sheet of notebook paper and have them number it from 1 to 10. And then go back to your list of words per minute, your fluency list, and call out 10 words from these 2 lists to have the children write. And that is your auditory sound drill. And then finally would be the auditory tactile drill. And this is page 18 in your Module 4 workbook. And follow the directions at the top of the page. And the directions say, write 5 or more sentence story using at least 5 of the following words. And the paper looks like this. The words are auditorium, diction, expel, individual, inject, move, omit, and spectator. Now they are to write 5 or more sentence story using at least 5 of these words. This does give you a good space to write in, but some of our children may need the lines of just regular notebook paper to put it on. Now, there were some more worksheets that would give each child more practice on the roots and their meanings and how to spell words. On page 13 of our Module 4 workbook, there is a sheet that says, write the root in the most appropriate word. You may use the root more than once. This is an excellent sheet to give the children a chance to try out these different roots with different suffixes. And then there was another one on page 14 that would give them a lot of extra help, and it would help them to understand the meaning of each of the words. And it says, write the root in its best place in the sentence. You can use the root more than once. And what it does is it gives a sentence and some of the letters, and you have to choose which of the roots would complete the word and would make sense in this sentence. But it will also help the children to understand what the meaning of each of these words are. And it will help them understand the meaning of these root words. And then on page 15, there's another excellent practice sheet. And it says, write the words in the proper sentences. And they have this one broken down by the different roots. There's actually 2 pages. It's 15 and 16. And in here, it's like these words are all your odd words, A-U-D. And you have these words across the top. You have auditorium, audition, inaudible, auditory, and audience. And then they have the 5 sentences, and they have to choose the correct word to fit the sentence. And again, it will help them to understand what the meaning of these words are. And I believe this is an excellent form of helping the children to understand what the meanings of these words are. And the final practice worksheet would be on page 17 of our Module 4 workbook. And it's write the words in their proper sentence. And again, there is a list of words using our roots at the top of the page. And they are to choose which word best completes the sentence. Excellent form of helping children to understand the meaning and meaning of these roots and to help expand their vocabulary.